Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Stretford, Paddock. I am Adam McCullough. He is Alex. He is Jay. We are back for Manchester United preview, and this is the preview for the Newcastle Manchester United game. Our return to Premier League football, the end of the international break. There's been so much to speak about, and of course, we're still mulling and recovering from that 6-1 battering at the hands of Spurs. But we're here to look ahead to that game today. We're going to be discussing everything about the Newcastle Manchester United game, from Ollie against Bruce. Did they play together? Briefly?
Yeah, briefly. Ollie came in 96, didn't he? Didn't Bruce leave in 96, 97?
Could maybe a little bit of a crossover between the two of them.
I think
but
so.
Two former Manchester United players going head-to-head in the dugout. Also, Harry Maguire, will he play for Manchester United? In the press conference today, we heard that he's got a little bit of an injury. Or is Ollie just protecting him? And we'll be discussing everything else as well. First things first, how you lot doing?
Good to be back watching United again, because it was a bit crap watching England and stuff on it.
It was a bit. I mean,
Mason Mount play every week. It's just.
I tried. I watched the first one, but then
How have they made that team? They're boring. I don't get it.
No.
They've got so many good players.
Well, it's
for
the
England.
boring manager. That's why.
yeah, when you're a manager and you're choosing to play Jack Grealish on the
I
bench.
was waiting for him to say Jack Grealish.
But I don't get it when you.
I don't get it.
We're struggling to get a goal. Let's bring on Jordan Henderson. That's the way. Leave Jack
See,
Grealish.
I can't complain with Jordan Henderson, a guy that's just captained his team to the Premier League and Champions League playing. Oh, but when you constantly see 5 right backs, 3 centre halves, 2 DMs, and then fucking Mason Mount,
Yeah.
it's like, what the hell's
And
going
you've got
on? Like,
Grealish, Sancho, Rashford, Kane should be a front four, and you're like.
Sancho was on the bench. Grealish was on the bench.
This is what I mean. I can't. I got behind him a little bit in 2018 when he got to the World Cup semi-final, but. You know,
Yeah,
it's
as soon as you
difficult.
smile that the whole country could be celebrating something,
Yeah.
you don't want to get left out.
Not missing out on this.
I'll have a bit of that.
Start thinking,
Yeah, okay.
is it time to throw away that United greater than England t-shirt? And then they lose and you're like, yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah. Leave it there.
How you like feeling about the defeat, though? Have you kind of forgotten about that 6-1 defeat now?
No,
I
I just
have.
don't think.
It's weird because even like the Scousers didn't soften the blow, did it? Do you know what I mean?
Helped-
Normally the
helped a
Scousers
bit,
getting
though.
battered 7-2, but oh my god, this is amazing. But I was that done with football that day. I was just like, I don't care.
Helped a bit.
A little
Helps
bit.
a little bit. But then the transfer stuff didn't help things. The mess on the Monday.
No,
with
so I
not
forgot
getting,
about
without getting the signings we wanted in, or expecting something different to happen that day, that was to kind of hoping to lift everyone up, and it didn't happen as well. So I don't know. The Cavani one should have been, if that was the ice on the cake signing, I think that would have lifted everyone a bit. But that being the big sign on that day was just didn't help at all.
I hate to do it, but is this a must-win for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
I was so
Given the fixtures that are coming up and what's just happened.
I like you. I don't like using that term must win because then what happens if you don't win? Nothing changes and you go, well, it wasn't really a must win, was it? Because he's still in a job. We didn't win. We're just carrying on. I think it's a step towards that if he doesn't. The inevitable. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
the rumours. There's always going to be rumours there. As long as Pochettino's out of work, there's always going to be Pochettino rumours. If Ollie loses like back-to-back games, pressure's on him. But now, especially after the 6-1 against Spurs, we need a result. We need a performance and a result. But I don't necessarily think it's a must-win. I think if we draw, I don't think he's going to get sacked. But
I think
he needs to start turning things
if you
around.
don't win this week, then you've got that run of PSG, Chelsea, and then you've got another Champions League game, and then I think it's Arsenal after that.
Yeah.
Leipzig, Arsenal. That's it needs to go into that run with some kind of form, showing something. Because you don't want to see him go after this because it shouldn't. His job shouldn't be based on these next 4 games. But I think that if they don't get a result against Newcastle, I think the pressure's on, and then going into Paris Saint-Germain, it's going to be a tough game. You don't really want to be relying on to get a performance out there. And then Chelsea, you can't lose tomorrow. You can't really.
Yeah, I don't think you can lose. And I think even if you lose or you draw, you got 1 win out of your first 4 league games. That's pretty damning, isn't it?
It is.
It's pretty damning. Now, we could talk about a lot of things that happened in the summer, about transfers not happening, the lack of a pre-season, etc., etc. But why has it been so bad in the last couple of games?
I don't know. It was I said the feeling of the same way it was around Mourinho's season, where it was such a clear, we wanted that player. You know, the same with Harry Maguire. We needed a centre half. When the team had done quite well, the season before, the team had done all right, finishing second, and there should have been something to build on there, even if without signing a player. But that we didn't get a winger, we didn't get another centre half. I think everyone's expecting us to not be very good, and I think that's put a lot of pressure on everyone. I think everyone's just been a bit tentative with everything. I think that the frailty that they had at the end of last season, instead of that bouncing in with a couple of new signings that say we are doing all right, I think everyone's just a bit nervous and everyone's expecting something to go wrong rather than it be a positive thing. But I don't know, the performances should be better. I think that they look tired, everyone does. I think it needs refreshing, but where do you refresh it? I mean, we've all changed the team a little bit, but we're lacking players. That's the problem as well. I think that he's not got the players where he can go, let's give this lad a rest, let someone else come in. And that's where I think that the bad moods kind of come from, where there is no way of changing it. There isn't a way of Ollie's still looking around going, what do I do? I've not got anything new to change, no way to
See,
pick
the thing
it up.
for me is, the frustrating thing for me is with that, is that whilst I agree, and I saw that towards the back end of the season, like against Sevilla in the cup games, I understood that he didn't, especially after the Chelsea semi-final, he clearly didn't trust some of those players that were on the bench. So I kind of got it at that point. But now in this start of the season, he's made some very confusing decisions. Starting the season with Paul Pogba after he had coronavirus. I think in every predicted team that I put out this Premier League season, Pogba hasn't been in it because we've got Donny van der Beek, who came into the team in the summer. We played one pre-season game and he was in it, and then he was taken out of the team. And I didn't understand that, because you immediately lost some sort of energy and enthusiasm in that midfield, because Paul Pogba was coming in off the back of having coronavirus, the back of, that season, no pre-season. It didn't make sense to me. No. Playing against Spurs, 3-1 up, we continued to press from the front. It was so naive, and we were leaving holes open, behind and everything. And I felt that was naive as well. And look, you can point to, we got battered by City 6-1 and Fergie just kept going for it, attacking. But he didn't seem to be that way. And I feel like, whilst I feel there are excuses, pre-season is an excuse. Not having a pre-season is a massive excuse for anybody. While I think there are excuses, the transfer window being one, and I believe that could have a negative impact on the dressing room, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has to get some of these big decisions right, and I feel like he hasn't. Maybe even taking Maguire out of the team. I feel we'll talk about Maguire in a bit, but Maguire, I feel what we're seeing now from Maguire is down to Southgate and Solskjaer. Because you've got to put this lad out of his misery at some point and kind of protect him from himself. And I feel like while there are excuses, there's not enough excuses for the way the season's gone. Do you know what I mean? It should have been a little bit better than that. What have you made of the start?
I mean, it's really confusing to me, because I don't want to make excuses for Ole, because I get where you're coming from. Certain decisions he's made haven't been right. But I'll be honest with you, I looked at that team going into the Spurs game that he put out, and I didn't have an issue with it. I didn't. No, I wanted Eric Bailly in the team. I wasn't like, oh, why has he picked him? I get the Pogba thing, and I think that has been confusing. But each game I've thought, okay, maybe Pogba's shown in training that now he's ready. But, we've seen that he hasn't. So, for me, and again, I'm going to get people going, oh, you're just sticking up for Ole, whatever. These are good players that look knackered. Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes aren't bad players. The world-class players almost, you could argue, or some of them are. But they're not playing like that, and there's a reason, and I think they've not fully recovered from last season, and I think pre-season does play a part in it. And we had all these games towards the end of last season crammed together. As you mentioned earlier, he didn't like rotating. When he did rotating, it blew up in his face in the FA Cup semi-final. So the likes of Rashford, Bruno were playing every game, even when he looked dead on the feet. Towards the end of the season, those two players I mentioned looked absolutely knackered, yet they were playing every game. And they've not had a proper chance to recover. Harry Maguire played a lot of football, and his holiday turned into a disaster. Do you know what I mean? Wasn't a holiday, was it? Spending 2 nights in a cell. So, and he's got that weighing on him. So I think you just got this perfect storm of players are tired. They've not had enough rest. They've not had enough pre-season. I was hoping that most of them wouldn't feature in the internationals, if I'm being honest, because A, I'm not really that fussed about England friendlies, and B, they need a rest.
3 games is daft.
Yeah, but a lot of them haven't. And the ultimate frustrating thing, I know we'll get into the team later, but the one player we brought in who you think could give us all a lift for this game, especially with Martial suspended, isn't eligible because we left it too late to sign him, which is just personifies Manchester United Football Club at the minute. We can't even get the basics right. It's just ridiculous.
It is. talking about Maguire, obviously, not here to criticise him too much because look, I think everyone can say his form's not been good enough.
No.
You know, the start of this season and even the end of last season, his form's not been good enough. I think that's by the by. But what we're seeing now is a player just unravelling. Does he need to just be put out of his misery and dropped for this game, or rested, or whatever you want to call it? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in his press conference today said he's got a knock, and I feel like he hasn't. He's just making it seem like an injury issue rather than anything else.
I think that's very clever if Ole is doing that. I'll be honest with you. I quite like that sort of thing. I think that's sort of makes it life a lot easier for everyone. He's got a bit of a knock. I took him out of the team because he wasn't 100% fit. So there's no issue there. You're not dropping him. I mean, most people go, all right, he's talking rubbish. But on the surface, that's why you've done it. And then you can have a word with him in private and say, listen, Harry, have a little bit of a breather. Things ain't going well. We know that. We're here for you. Let's move on. But yeah, something needs to be done because I don't really like this attitude sometimes. If we have this as football fans, I think it was Paul Rancaster who said it on one of the previews last year about this sort of Dunkirk spirit attitude. Oh, just keep playing, even when you're injured. Just keep playing. Go on, soldier through. This is what we do. Bulldog spirit. It's nonsense. If you're not well or you're not mentally right, why not take him out? We know more about mental fatigue and things like that than we've ever known in football history. So why not use that knowledge and say, all right, this kid needs resting, or this guy needs resting, well, let's take him out. Not just keep throwing him in. He's £80 million defender who's United captain, should just play. If he's not right, and let's face facts, his performances are showing that he's not, then take him out of the firing line. And if you have to use an excuse, then use it.
I think it was good. It was a good little...
Yeah.
It's like that, when you plant the seed, when day before you're going to call in a sickie, you'll just...
Day before the cup finals. You've got a bit of a throat today, boss.
Yeah, I think that the problem, a little bit is that and this is probably why Pogba's played, I think that Ollie's still a bit edgy about everything that's going on. I don't think he wants to risk not playing. These are his people he can trust, he feels like, all the way through.
But at the moment, you're trusting them to let you down.
I know. And I think, I think that's kind of where he's going. You've got your goalkeeper in De Gea who's question marks over, and think he knows that, well, he was the one that got me through at the start. I got to put him in there. Maguire, I brought him, my big signing, the one. Dropping him, am I putting in people that aren't as good even still? Do I trust Lindelof, Bailly? Do I trust these players to come in? Whereas Maguire's done a job for me. Same with Pogba, when he went out of the team, he's still my best player and still was one of my best players when I had my winning run. And I think there's a bit of caginess in Ollie where he thinks that I can't drop these players in terms of, I don't think he could risk throwing in a younger player or someone less experienced right now. I think that's where he's torn between it all, where I don't think he wants to rest him still.
But that's why you get the big bucks, though, innit? To make these big decisions. And I know, again, it's kind of all we've got to go on, but I remember Fergie dropping Rooney for Welbeck in Real Madrid. Remember Real Madrid?
Madrid at home.
And everyone was like, what the fuck's going on here? Guys, the geezer lost his mind. And Welbeck kind of did a DM job on that. And you're thinking, whoa, what happened? And obviously that's exaggerating a point to make a point, but like, you've got to be brave in these decisions.
Yeah.
And I think once we saw Lindelof and Bailly even keep a clean sheet against Brighton together, I even felt that was like a little excuse to give Maguire a night off. Like, he's looked like he's needed it for a long time. And like you say, when you go on holiday and then whoever's to blame, blame whoever, whether he's at blame or not, but you're not getting rested. You're not resting at all. You're stressing, and if not, you're getting worse. So I don't think it's been ideal for him. Obviously, we can't really send him on holiday at this moment in time, but it feels like one of them moments where Fergie would have went to a player, go on holiday for 2 weeks, come back, fight for your spot, and we'll see what can happen from there.
But I think Fergie had that. He had players like Johnny Evans and stuff that would just go and fill in the job. So if he had to do it to someone like Rio, who never had that kind of thing, but he could say, I'll just have Johnny Evans come in, who's better than Lindelof and Bailly. He had that kind of players around him where, even though they're not the star players, he always had people in the squad that he could trust. He could always say to a player, go away, put John O'Shea in, he's never going to be as good as him, but he could do a job.
But the thing is,
Maguire's
not playing well. So it's not like we're trying to replace a Maguire at the top of his game.
I know, but I think
we're trying to replace a Maguire that we've probably never ever seen. Like, the state of him. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, like we've not seen.
But
him
the other thing is, though, we're talking about Ollie having these 4 games to save his job almost, and that's not how it should be. But that's Fergie knew that if I lose the next 2 games or Johnny Evans pulls a clanger in this next game, it's not going to matter to me.
It's
Whereas
true.
if you bring in Lindelof and Bailly or whatever you do, I'm scared of losing my job. And I've got, what am I doing? I'm resting my £80 million centre half. I think there's a little bit of that. I think that's where Mourinho got to, where he kind of went that I want to try these different things. I'd love to play these different players almost, but I've not got anyone to change them with. So I need to go with what I know is going to work or what is going to be as safe as possible, because it ended up going bad for him against Liverpool. But that team that he put out was that I don't trust anyone else but these players to do what I want to do right now. And for as much as Pogba came in and did well, that's why he didn't play those kind of running games. Is that there was fear in how they play it.
I get what you say. You say no. I think though, if Ollie's really focused on keeping his job, if it is, then he has to take Maguire out.
Yeah,
I do. I just think the way he's playing at the minute is, and I hate hammering him because the guy's going through the mill. But let's be honest about his performances. He's having a stinker, and I just think, you know, and also early doors against Newcastle. You know, if Callum Wilson or whoever turns him, it's going to be a long afternoon.
And then imagine he has a bad day against
long
Newcastle, and then we got PSG up.
Yeah, he's just got
No,
Like, I give him the week off, you know.
I agree.
I think there's more to lose from playing him than there is to gain from playing him.
Yeah.
Like, if he comes back and we keep a clean sheet against Newcastle and PSG, he's going to be top of the world. All right, that could happen. But is it likely? Probably not. And you kind of feel like the worst thing will probably happen. Like at this, like the way things are going, you know, like when he went on an international break, you think, okay, he's got away from Carrington, maybe he can take his mind off it, you know. And then you see that happen and just play out, and you just think, I wanted to give him a hug that day. And I've been someone that's criticised him and said he should be dropped. But I think you can hold that opinion of he should be dropped. But I also have some sympathy for him. You know what I mean?
Not mutually exclusive, those two opinions.
But that's the thing, people can't think. Like,
well, you were saying he wasn't good
mind.
enough the other week or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, listen, we all want Harry Maguire, whether you rate him or not, want him to play well for Manchester United. You know, we all want that to happen.
No.
And I think the best way, I'm with you, the best way for that to happen, at least long term, is just in the short term. Just get him out there, man, because it's not just the United thing that's under the bubble now. With England, the whole nation's press on him. And he must feel that. He seems to me like the sort of guy who would feel that and does sort of wear his heart on his sleeve a little bit. He's not someone who seems quite like he can just shrug things off and, you know, has that swagger.
Like, I know he wears an armband and he seems like this big, a big typical English centre-half passion. He's not that guy.
No, he's not, is he?
And even from, like, we both met him briefly, like, he seems very quiet, very shy in himself. Like, he doesn't seem... he's the kind that leads by example rather than vocally. Yeah. And I think against Spurs, when Martial gets sent off and you watch him for that whole period of time, he doesn't seem himself, just standing there like...
And this is the
feeling
problem as
sorry
well,
for
Macca.
himself, and that's sad, man. That's sad.
Now everything is analysed. I've never
Yeah.
seen that before, where a red card happens and people are analysing what the captain was doing or the defender was doing. But
Because
that's
very strange. It was very strange, though.
it was. But I think he's under that much of a microscope now,
Yeah,
where
I
it's
think
like
just,
more people were talking about than what
you
Martial was
you
doing.
Kinda
It
think
was
of,
like, what's going on here? Look at Marcus is arguing and Harry Maguire's not and all this sort of stuff. And I think he's under that much of a microscope. Even if, like, you know, he was to play okay and make one, like, small mistake, everyone would be on him, or the press or the media. And, you know, I don't go into, you know, Jamie Ranap or you've got to give him time or be fair sorry for him. We know if he plays badly against Newcastle, the pundits will be on him, everyone will be on him. The press, love hammering United anyway, will be on him. And he's going to make him worse.
Now, I did want to mention that, but I didn't want to bring it into the Maguire discussion because I think that kind of thing is beyond Maguire. So we shouldn't discuss that when we're discussing Maguire. But there's been a lot been made about the media reaction to Maguire's performance and to say the treatment of Paul Pogba, Raheem Sterling in the media. You had Gary Neville coming out immediately after the game saying, get behind him. Jamie Redknapp saying the same thing. Those people very rarely say the same thing if it's Paul Pogba, if it's Raheem Sterling, if it's these guys. What did you make of those comments? Now, I feel a lot of them have caused people to lay into Maguire. That's unfair. Because you can, like we were saying, you can, you know, if you have decent levels of comprehension, you can think Maguire should be dropped. He's going through a hard time. He needs some help. Pogba's unfairly treated by it. You can think all of these you can think of all of them at the same time, but some people can't grasp that. What did you make of the media reaction to Maguire, and did you see anything that is concerning?
A little bit, because it's never the same excuses that Paul Pogba went through, Jesse Lingard went through, kind of thing, where they said he's not good enough, his mind's elsewhere, doing things like that, and it was a blame on them. It was sort of, they're not focused. You know, Pogba wants to go to Madrid, Jesse Lingard's focusing on his clothing brands and all this kind of stuff. There's that kind of blame, whereas Maguire was, oh, well, you know, he's had this stuff in the summer. And there is a difference in the way the media talk, and a lot of the time it's strange and it's wrong. And again, a lot of it should be, we don't know what's going on, because that is the right thing. You don't know what's gone on with any player behind the scenes. You don't know what's gone on with Paul Pogba behind the scenes. You don't know how coronavirus has affected him. You don't know how, yes, he does things like, says things about the Madrid stuff, but that doesn't mean that other things aren't going on. And same with Jesse Lingard. You know, he was this outgoing person on social media, and no one questioned the fact that he might have something else going on. And that's, whereas Harry Maguire straight away has gone to that, and it's not right. It's not right how people have done it. But I think that it's almost a subconscious way of doing it. I think people, that's how they go towards things, especially a player, Harry Maguire, captained England for a couple of times, Manchester United captain. I don't think that they would go against him straight away, which is an odd way of doing things. And it's
weird because you mentioned there, Jesse opened a clothing brand, Pogba having a haircut or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I defended Maguire in the summer, by the way, but he was involved in getting locked up and all that. And it's almost like, I don't know.
Yep.
I mean, I think we can say there is a racial element.
No,
there.
yeah. Well,
do you know what I mean? I don't think we need
that.
to skirt around that issue. We've seen it before. I mean, we've seen it. The treatment of Raheem Sterling. I mean, he plays for Manchester City and he used to play for the Scousers.
Well,
if there's one player I would have no qualms about bashing or hammering, it would be Raheem Sterling. And I was sticking up for the guy because I was like, you know, he's bought his mum a house, his shops at Poundland. What are these stories? What are you on about? Give it a rest. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
He's on an EasyJet flight.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't give a toss. You're just being ridiculoly right-wing stupid. You know, you said it on a tweet. I think, you know, some people have bottom set levels of comprehension. I love that, by the way. It made me laugh. But it's true. And it's like, yeah, there is a racial element to that. I think there is. But like you say, it's not mutual. You don't have to think like, oh yeah, Paul Pogba got treated like crap, so we should treat Maguire like crap. No, neither of them should be. Judge them on the football, and if they're not playing well, ask them why. Are they bad footballers? No. Is something else going on? We don't know.
Probably.
Maybe it is. Maybe we should give them the benefit now. Maybe, as United fans, we should get behind them a bit. Let's try that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I remember me and you did a podcast and you hit the nail on the head, where Paul Pogba got racially abused on social media by United fans. And all right, we'll say they are United fans because there are some racist United fans. I'm not going to deny the United fans, but some people after when he came back were chanting his name, and it was like, why? Why is it like?
Why does it take racist abuse for you?
No, it's not about that. Like, oh, we'll racist abuse it and then we'll give him at the ground. We'll get behind him. No, let's just not abuse our own players to that level. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's how it should be done. Yeah. So it frustrates me. It does. It frustrates me as a United fan. It frustrates me as a person as well when you just see that sort of stuff. And I think, we're going to be fairer, which we should be. We should be fairer for everyone, including Maguire and Paul Pogba.
And I think you can say all of that and still say Pogba deserves to be dropped or Maguire deserves
of course you can.
Like, no one's saying you can't say these things, but
I'm not bothered that he's painted his hair blue or that he's,
Yeah.
Or, I mean, Jesse Lingard came out, you interviewed him and said, I'm seeing a psychologist. I've asked to see a psychologist and still got hammered. Because he's like, he's
an excuse. He's using mental health as an excuse.
I think you can't win.
You can't win. But Maguire, in a word, should he be in the team?
Should we have a look at our starting 11s?
Is that where you want to go to?
We could do.
All right.
Keeping it moving forward and nicely done how it's back.
Seeing as you've said it, you may as well say you're 11.
Who are we starting with, Will?
Well, you.
Start with mine.
Yeah, come on, seeing as you've taken over
I've got him in the team.
Preview.
I put him in the team.
Oh, after all that.
I don't think they'll drop him. I don't think he will drop him.
That's a fair comment. This is predictive.
And the way I've gone about it is I think that he'll go to the three at the back to sort of protect him in that kind of way. I've kept Eric Bailly in there. I think that there's a chance of them playing Callum Wilson. The pace that either they're going to play Callum Wilson or Andy Carroll, and Victor Lindelof doesn't like either of them kind of players. I think that Eric Bailly is the one to deal with that, and I think Luke Shaw does well with a little bit of added pace. Tellez gets his debut on left wing back, and then I've gone with McTominay, Pogba, and Wan-Bissaka in midfield. Bruno was the question mark as well, obviously with all the stuff going on with him, and maybe having Van der Beek in there, and then up front, I think you have to keep Rashford and Greenwood. I don't think you can have
Brother, did you say Wan-Bissaka in midfield?
right wing back kind of thing.
Oh shit!
One three at the back. There you
Okay,
go.
I was a bit confused.
Yeah.
Bold strategy, Max.
Bold
work.
strategy. I
Wait,
think
what?
I think this
He's
is what
struggling in his own position these days.
I think this is
Go
what
on, son. Show us what you can do.
I think Ollie wants to go to 3 at the back, and I think that's one of the reasons why he's pushed for Telles and he wanted a left wing back or someone that could play there. I think that's what he wants to do. I think that's where he sees Luke Shaw coming in there, and I think that this is almost it's a time to do it in terms of protecting Harry Maguire, because I don't like buying Lindelof as a 2. I don't think that they do well enough together, and I think that this will help Maguire out a little bit.
One of our only 2 clean sheets this season were kept by Bailly and Lindelof,
I'm still not a big fan of them, and I think that's how he's going to keep Maguire in the team. I think that by going to 3 at the back kind of puts a bit of added protection around him. Not that it helped too much for England this week, but I think he looks more comfortable there, and we look more comfortable defensively that way at times last season. And I think that this is almost a pre-run for the fixture we're going to have coming up. I think PSG, you definitely play this formation. I think you then got Chelsea the week after, Arsenal, Leipzig. I think you can keep these 3 at the back running for quite a while. And I think it allows you to keep Pogba and Bruno in the team as well.
Just on that, like PSG, we started like against him, didn't we? And he changed it because I know Young's not there anymore, but we're having a nightmare.
Potentially, but I think that's why he's pushing for a left wing back, because I think he wanted Luke Shaw to play left centre half. I think that's where he liked him playing last season, and I think that we need someone that adds a bit of width out there. And I think Telles does that, and then I think this is a good time as well without having a centre forward. I don't think Rashford works as well on his own through the middle, and Greenwood could potentially do it, but then you've got to put Dan James at right wing, but I'm not a big fan of that either.
We don't need to do that.
No.
Go on, Jay.
Who's next?
Oh, is it me?
Macola.
All right, Will, you may as well present the show. Then, my team is David De Gea in goal, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I've gone with a back 4. I did have a back 3 until Maguire. I think he needs a rest, man. Let's take him out of the firing line. And I don't think he's been the only bad one in our back line, by the way. No. Lindelof, Bailly, Alex Telles, Van der Beek, Pogba. I've gone all out. Fuck this. Mata, Bruno, Rashford, Greenwood. I've gone with Mata because I like the way he links up with Bruno, keeps possession of the ball as well. Van der Beek too. Him and Bruno and Mata have a good thing going. Yeah. Now I know we don't really have a DM in that position, but I think Van der Beek and Pogba can rotate, being the deepest lying players. And I also think with the way Mata plays, and he's probably not going to give much cover to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, that when Telles gets forward, Wan-Bissaka will shift across and we'll almost have 3 at the back. Then anyway, so that's the team that I'd go with. Greenwood up top, Mata, Bruno, Rashford in behind. Mata's been mint this season.
It's a good shout, actually, with Matt. I didn't put him in my team, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did feature. And he's always someone that Ollie turns to in a sort of time of need.
Can rely upon him.
Yeah.
I do like one Mata.
I still feel he's gonna play someone defensive midfield. I think he'll panic a bit with that. And I think that
just go all out.
The one thing when he
conceded 11 with defensive midfielders.
Don't need to worry about the long
score 8 of them. Yeah,
plays 6 right backs as well. It works for England.
No left-footed player.
4th
in
best
the entire nation.
No one.
We got Luke Shaw.
Hey, that's a new low point for this country.
I think Chilwell was injured. I think there was Chilwell, but that's it.
Yeah, Luke Shaw's not great, to be fair. Imagine Luke Shaw doesn't get.
But they could have played that Saka from Arsenal.
Gareth Southgate doesn't pick Luke Shaw. Yeah, we do.
Worrying, innit?
Disconcerting.
It is. What's your team, Jay?
Right, I've gone for 3 at the back. I've gone with David De Gea in goal. I've gone hear me out on this. I've gone with Eric Bailly, Victor Lindelof, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka as part of a back 3. I think there might be an option for him there longer term as part of a back 3 on the right hand side. Obviously, going forward, he's not always great, so I've gone with that. Left wing back, I've gone with Alex Telles. I know he's just come back from Sao Paulo. Ollie was talking about him, but I think he'll be fit enough, and I think we need him. It's sad to say that we already need the guy. As right wing back, I've gone with Brandon Williams because I think that's a sort of natural fit for him. He's right-footed anyway. I know he plays most of his games at left back for United, but hopefully he can get up and down that wing. I've gone with Matic in a holding role even to keep Matty or Sean Longstaff, whoever's due to score against us this week, quiet. And then
Cramp twins them.
yeah. And I know where we're coming from with everyone looks knackered and Pogba's recovering and all this. But I thought Pogba and his cameo for France looked decent. So hopefully, fingers crossed, he's
that pass.
back. Yes, mate. Come on. Do you know what I mean?
Martial
This is
looked
the
good
thing.
as well.
Don't, mate. I tried. I didn't want to go down and mention in the
Mbappe should have
AM
scored a
word.
sitter, by the way.
Yeah. Hey.
Tell him come outside for next week.
That's getting clips up.
Yeah. By
He
me.
scores his fourth. So I've gone with Pogba and Bruno. And as a front two, I've gone with Mason and Marcus. Because obviously your boy's suspended. Cavani's on quarantine. And Odeon, I don't really think he's going to start this game.
Eminem up top.
How bad is that?
What?
Oh,
That we bought a player that was available all summer.
He's
We
been
waited till
available
it was
all
just long
summer.
enough so we can't play him when we really need him.
After the international.
And then he
break,
said in his
2 weeks
interview,
off.
they made me feel really wanted.
Really?
Sure, come on.
A deadline day signing when you've been sat on your couch for 3 months.
And
Sounds
you know
like
what?
it.
I'm actually excited to see him in the United shirt, but you see these training videos he keeps doing. They remind me of Alexis Sanchez. Remember when Sanchez kept running and then doing that weird
I thought you were going to say
smiling to Instagram? It's like, oh, fuck off.
His YouTube videos.
You're a footballer. You're supposed to go for runs, you dick. Like, Jay goes for runs.
Dude, 5Ks.
He
Sometimes
does.
10.
Same speed as McTominay, you know.
24 minutes.
McTominay Jay.
McTominay Jay. Let's get that trending.
Fucking hell.
So yeah, I'm with you. No Maguire.
Yeah.
Unlike Baggers.
Don't even make him travel.
Do you know what I mean?
Don't even make him go into Carrington. Make him go home and spend time with his kids, bruv.
I think that.
Has he got kids?
I don't think so. I don't know. Has he?
I think there's a definite argument that he should do that, but whether he will.
What? He should have kids.
He should have kids. Or, no,
Settle down.
It's the last thing he needs is more stress.
Thinks a night in the cells is bad. He'll be begging for another night in the cells once he's had kids.
I think there's an argument to have him not travel, be with the team away, but I still think he's going to play him.
It is predicted so far.
It's just, I just feel like it's so, because he's not the kind of guy to say, just give me a break, you knob. Like, he's not going to, just give me a day off. He's going to, because if you're £80 million man, you're going to be thinking, these like are going to be thinking I'm a fraud. Like, £80 million, like, yo, I need to stay. Like, they've just given me the captain's armband. I can't now be saying in the first week of the season, lads, I need a holiday.
Because the last one went really well. The last thing you need to be saying when you've had the dramas he's had. But I do think Ollie.
Maybe that's what he needs.
Ollie was sowing that seed today. I think at the press conference. I think he was. There was no hint of an injury there, was there? With Harry Maguire, and all of a sudden he's got.
He played half an hour.
Yeah, he injured the other fella. I don't know about. It was never a red card, by the way.
No, it wasn't.
No, he won the ball with the second
time. Clean won the ball. And his foot was like that, but he was on the floor like, game's gone. Game's gone.
It's only
it is gone. Newcastle, worried?
I mean,
Stevie Bruce's black and white army.
They're doing all right, aren't they, as well? And, you know, they've sort of got a bit of confidence, and they'll probably go in this confident after the last time we went to St. James's. Last 2 times, didn't they beat us at the time with Jose as well? Or am I misremembering?
No, we won.
No, they did.
Won. It was the...
There was one where
1-0 twice, wasn't it?
Smalling gave a free kick away, I remember.
Ollie, we went to St. James's
3-0 and 1-0, wasn't it? 3-0 and 1-0. I watched them both with True Geordies.
Yeah, but not St. James's.
Yeah, no, we won in between.
Oh,
Ollie went... Sanchez missed a sitter, but we won about 2-3-0.
We ain't beaten Newcastle.
Go on, you can do your thing on. Anyway,
we've won 2-0.
I'm a little bit concerned because
panicking.
It's not. I'm gonna say it's not an easy ground to go to, but no fans, so it might make a difference. I don't know. I still think Manchester United should be able to beat Newcastle, even without Martial, even with all the problems we've mentioned, even with our £80 million defender rested, if he is rested.
Sound like a man that hasn't watched our last couple of games, Jay.
I still live in this bubble of like it's 1999. Doesn't matter if
I'm still taking drugs.
Yeah, York and Cole might be out. We've got a show going on. We'll be all right. No, Jay. We've just been battered 6-1 at home to Spurs. Get a grip, son.
It's only Tottenham, a great man once said.
I'm just going to sit here in my delusion and think
Do you know what Premier League years was on the other day? 12-13.
Oh, that's all right.
It was sad.
Do you know what annoys me about that, though?
You have to turn it off before the end. Like, there's 50's got a bar, like he says. He turns movies off before the end because the bad guy dies.
Yeah.
It's like, you just got to turn it off before the end. before
Premier
the
League
bad
years
guy
that
dies.
year isn't too bad. I just can't watch the. You mentioned it earlier, the Real Madrid game. I
They
still,
skirt over
to
that
this
a bit.
day,
Till this day.
can remember someone turning to me and going, I can't believe he's booking him for that. And I looked at me and as he was looking at me, I can still like it was yesterday. I went, it's a red, mate. I will never forget that moment. I was like, it's a red.
I couldn't believe that either.
Like,
It was like the Bayern Munich game. Nani scored a back heel, bro, in a quarter-final. Gibson scored in a quarter-final.
G-bomb.
And a semi-final he scored in.
Mate, legend.
Imagine
Now
Darren
is
Gibson.
it Salford, in it? Is it Salford?
We
City?
went into a game. I know this is completely off topic,
Who cares, man?
but let me show you
Let's
this
relive the
team.
glory days.
Let me show you this team, Man United, Schalke.
When we used to play Darren Gibson and get to the Champions League final.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look at this team. We won 6-1 in a semi-final on aggregate, yeah. This was the team Fergie had the cheek to start in a semi-final. Van der Sar, Smalling, Raphael. Smalling was at right back. Fucking hell.
Bold.
Raphael at left back. Evra came in for him after an hour. John O'Shea and Evans at centre half. Anderson, Nani. Scholes, Valencia, Gibson, and Berbatov.
Gibson the 10.
That was a team in the Champions League semi-finals winning 6-1.
Who was in goal though? Who were they playing against?
Neuer,
Neuer in goal.
That's even better, isn't it?
Farfan and Raoul and Draxler. And Papadopoulos.
It was so weird that game, wasn't it? It was
And
like
Huntelaar. Sorry.
we were just singing chants from like years ago, halfway through the game because we're already through. It was
Valencia,
like a friendly.
Gibson and Anderson scored twice.
Anderson scored like 5 goals in his United career, and 2 of them were in that game.
Yeah, 2 of them were in a semi-final and one was in a penalty shootout in the final. And one was against Spurs. Like, bloody hell. What a team.
Crazy
What a
days,
time to
man.
be alive.
I know, man.
Our bench was awful as well.
Go on. Who's on?
Kushak, Fletcher, Owen Hernandez, Evra, Vidic and Giggs.
Terrible.
They all start for us now, but Jesus, even Kushak get a game now.
Thomas Kushak.
Is there any transfers that you remember us being linked with that were like, at the time, they were like that has to happen. Like, it makes sense that happens. But now when you look back, you think, that should never have, like, thank God that. Carlton Palmer.
Was that real?
He's making
You
stuff up.
Is that who you said? Carlton Palmer?
Yeah.
He did.
Like, remember
Maybe.
Stuart Downing was linked for a long time as the replacement for Giggs
Remember?
when he was at
I
Borough.
We
remember
signed
Jack,
Ashley
I remember
Young
Jack
instead, didn't we?
Rodwell was linked. And he scored against us as well when he was linked, and everyone was like, that's it now.
He went to City, him, didn't he?
Yeah. Thank God.
What's wrong with you?
I just said we signed Ashley Young instead, so he's not in a good mood. We did. We chose Ashley Young over Stuart Downing.
Right,
That
Good
so-
season,
right decision.
Martin O'Neill said he's better than Ronaldo and Messi. And he was correct. Because if you saw that game, Villa versus Everton, you'd know, my friend.
There we go. 2-0. Oh, I found it. January 2019, 2-0 at St James's Park. This was in the run of Ollie winning every game.
Oh, that's why we forgot, because we were all fucking pissed.
Lukaku and Rashford.
We were all bouncing off walls.
About that,
And
yeah.
Yep.
I can't remember that still to this day.
When, what was it? Just New Year's?
January, 2nd Jan.
Yeah.
This year?
Nah.
No, last year.
Oh, we lost last one, innit?
Yeah.
Longstaff.
Longstaff.
That was, yeah.
And then we wanted to sign both of them.
And we
Wow.
quoted like 50 million or something for him.
And then weren't they getting sold off to like Real Oviedo or somewhere stupid
Do you know
like
what
that?
I mean?
Like, it's
Just
proper
stinks
odd,
United,
man.
that, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, at least we got Facundo Pellistri. And we didn't even speak about him today. He's in a score on the weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, he's starting.
Nailed on. He'll come on off the bench.
Never didn't do bench, did we?
Anyway. Anything you want to plug?
Can I do my predictions? Go. They still do that.
Oh, yeah, go on.
I'm going to be confident and go with a 1-0 win to United. Manchester United.
Clean sheet.
Bruno's angry. It's going to be 4-0 United.
There you go.
I'll go 2-1.
So hope he's not angry because it's 4-0 to Newcastle.
Yeah. He's angry when he storms off the pitch in a huff halfway through the game.
Boot Maguire on his way past.
Yeah.
Fuck off. 2-1 United.
Yo, Harry. There's a hug, bro.
Yeah.
There you go. It's nice and furry as well. Thank you for watching, guys. This has been the Newcastle vs Manchester United preview. He has been Alex. He has been Jay. I've been Adam. Together we have been Stretford Paddock. We're back. We got Macaulay and House and Uncensored coming for you in the next couple of hours, I imagine. We've also got the watch along tomorrow night as well. And we're not paying for the PPV, are we? We are living on the edge, and we want you guys to live on the edge. Don't pay for the pay-per-view and join us on the watch along. Until then, we're out of here.